Good afternoon and welcome to lecture 16 of ECL 706. In this class, we are going to learn some design issues pertaining to column form work. In the last lecture, if you remember, we had introduced you to different types of column form work. We discussed conventional column form work. We discussed some proprietary column form work, mainly the Doka column form work, the Perry column form work, the LNT form work, and some disposable column form work. We discussed different features of each of these products. We also discussed some of the advantages, disadvantages of various systems. In today's lecture, we are going to follow some step-by-step process of column form work design. If you remember, we have also taken the design aspects involved in foundation form work and wall form work. You will notice that the steps are more or less the same, and that is what I have prepared in this particular slide. If you just have a look at these slides, this particular slide and the subsequent slide lists out the various steps in the column form work design. The first step, as usual, is to see what are the materials that are available with you as far as sheathing is concerned, studs are concerned, yokes, tie rods, and bracings or alignments are concerned. So, you have to find out the material, what materials are available to you. Once you know what are the materials that are available to you, you can find out the permissible stresses. Permissible stresses for the material that is available with you. So, this is the second step. Now, you will find that when you are trying to design the column form work, you will come across different sizes of columns. For example, one size would be this, another size would be this, maybe some size would be something like this, cross section would be something like this. In some case, the height of the column would be maybe this, there could be some other column which could be of this much height. So, in order to make a design, we try to find out the largest cross sectional area. We try to design for the largest cross sectional dimension of the columns and for a maximum height. So, once you design your members for the largest cross section and for maximum height, if you repeat the same design, it should be alright for smaller dimensions of the column, although it would be on a slightly costlier side. Then these are some usual steps. You have to estimate the load, both the vertical load as well as the horizontal load. Horizontal load is basically the concrete pressure. Concrete pressure. You know how to calculate. You can either calculate it with by ACI formula, or you can calculate it using the Syria formula, or you can calculate using Indian standard formulas, or maybe you can use a DIN standard as well. So, any one of these methods, depending on your requirement, you can calculate the lateral pressure. Once you have calculated the lateral pressure, then you design the sheathing, which is in immediate contact with the concrete. Sheathing member you design. Now, sheathing is designed based on the bending consideration, based on the shear force consideration, and based on deflection consideration. These things you are already familiar with now. Then we move on to the design of studs. Studs support those sheathings. Here again you design it based on bending moment, based on shear force, and based on deflection criteria. Choose the minimum spacing. Once you have designed these studs, then you move on to design these yokes, again based on bending moment consideration, shear force consideration, and then deflection consideration. then once you have designed this yoke members, then you go to design of tie rods. So, in a nutshell, these are the steps that are followed, which you might have noticed more or less same as in case of wall formwork design or maybe in case of foundation formwork design. One thing, if you remember in the last class I had told you, the lateral pressure in case of concrete is more compared to the wall formwork pressure. Compared to wall, in column you find P max is greater. So, P max for case of column is greater than P max in case of, say, for example, wall, or for that matter foundation. This is because column has relatively a smaller cross section and the concrete quantity is small in comparison to your wall formwork quantity, and that is why you take very little time to fill the whole column height, and so a larger depth is green, which exerts large amount of pressure when compared to wall and foundation. Using these concepts, we try to design a typical column formwork. You can note down the data. We are supposed to design the formwork for a column of cross section 350 millimeter by 350 millimeter. So, the size of the column is 350 by 350. This dimension is 350, this dimension is also 350 millimeter. Coming to the availability of material, it is given that, but before that you can note down the height of the column is 3 meter. So, the column height is 3 meter. So, we have to design this column for a height of 3 meter. Coming to the availability of material, you have plywood of 12 millimeter available. Permissible bending stress on 12 mm plywood is given to be 14 Newton per millimeter square. These data you can note it down. The permissible bending moment is 0.2 kilonewton per meter. The bending moment is 0.2 kilonewton meter per meter. The permissible shear force is 6.16 kilonewton and permissible deflection is span by 360. So, you can use this plywood for your sheathing. Now, for studs and joist, you can choose from different combinations of different cross sections of timber available with you. Now, the timber of cross section 50 millimeter by 100 millimeter is available, 100 by 100 is also available, 100 by 150 millimeter is available, and 150 millimeter by 150 millimeter is available. So, these statements are just to inform you the availability of various timber with you. Now, for this timber, the permissible bending stress given is 7 Newton per millimeter square. The timber bending stress, that permissible bending stress, is 7 Newton per millimeter square. The E value, Young's modulus of elasticity, is 7700, that is 7700 Newton per millimeter square. It is 7700 Newton per millimeter square for this timber. The tie rod is of mild steel and diameter is 16 millimeter. So, for tie rod you have these material available with you, mild steel tie rod of 16 millimeter diameter. So, have you noted down some of these informations, technology class? Okay, please copy it. Okay, so based on these information, will you be in a position to design the column formwork? All of you noted down all the information? Okay, please complete your problem. Yes, can we move on to next slide? Okay, so can you design this formwork, column formwork? Some information is given to you in this slide as well. You can take the dead load of concrete as 26 kilonewton per cubic meter. This time we are going to use ACI formula just to give you enough practice of various formulas. In last two lectures I have been using this Syria formula. This time we will calculate the pressure using ACI formula. No specific reason behind this, just to give you enough practice. If you remember, the maximum lateral pressure for columns using ACI formula is given like this. P is CW into CC multiplied by 7.2 plus 785 R divided by T plus 17.8. This formula is already with you. The only condition is this should not result more than 150 CW CC or a minimum of 30 CW kilonewton per meter square, and in no case should be greater than W into H. I have already explained you the reasons behind these information. P is lateral pressure in kilonewton per meter square. R is a rate of pouring concrete in meter per hour. T is temperature in degree Celsius. So this formula is already with you. Okay, so you can assume some value of T, some value of R. In fact, I will give you those values. Let's take this R as 2 meter per hour rate of rise, T as 15 degrees Celsius, and this CW into CC you can take it as 1 directly. So can you calculate the pressure please with all this information? R you can take it as 2, T you can take it as 15 degrees Celsius, and the value of CW and CC multiplied together you can take it as 1.0. Now can you just quickly tell me the value of P please? 55.5. Are you getting this? Fine. 55.07 kilonewton per meter square. So that means pressure you have already calculated. Can you find out the value of span for bending, for shear and for deflection? You can use these values. Permissible bending stress for plywood is 14 Newton per millimeter square. Other information regarding shear and deflection I have already given you in one of the previous slides. Quickly find me the span or the spacing of studs. I am interested in finding the span of plywood, which is same as my spacing of studs. Help me in finding the span using all three considerations: bending moment, shear force and deflection. We will take the minimum of these three values and that we will be using as the spacing for studs. Then we will design the stud. That means we will find out the span of studs. The span of stud will be nothing as your spacing for wales or yokes, and then subsequently we will find out the tie rod spacings. So this is how we will follow all these design steps. Please give me the span of plywood. If you remember, I have given you that the sides of the column is 350 millimeter. So column cross section is 350 by 350. So maybe you can have arrangement of studs something like this. So that means you can encounter a two span situation, span 1 and span 2. So accordingly you can use maximum bending moment formula for two span case. You can take it approximately as WL square by 8. The formula for bending moment for two span you can approximate it with WL square by 8. The maximum permissible bending moment for this plywood is 0.2 kilonewton per meter. So can you find out the span based on bending moment consideration? I will not show you the answer. I will just give you the formula and rest you have to calculate. M is equal to WL square by 8 and the maximum bending moment permissible is 0.2. Now find out the value of L. How much? 170 point? Okay, this is correct, it means? Okay. Okay, find out for shear based on shear consideration. I will give you just the formula. It is shear is 5WL by 8. The formula for shear for this case you can use it as 5WL by 8. So find out the span for plywood using this consideration. The maximum permissible shear in 12 mm plywood is 6.16 kilonewton. The maximum permissible shear is 6.16 kilonewton. So using V is equal to 5WL by 8 formula and 6.16 kilonewton as the maximum permissible shear, work out the span allowable based on shear. Yes, 179 or 178, something like this. Okay. Now based on deflection, you calculate it. Deflection formula, you can use it like this: WL raised to power 4 185 EI. This is the formula for deflection you can use, and this you can equate it to a span by 360, which is L by 360. Find out the value of L corresponding to deflection. How much is it coming? Okay, EI value you want to know. EI value is given to be E I have already given you 7,000. How much was that E value? For plywood I had given you okay, for plywood it is not given here, but do you already have this EI value for plywood? I had given you in some previous lecture. Can you just find it out? This EI value is 1.07 for 12 mm plywood. This is what it is written, 1.07 kilonewton. What would be the unit? You can convert it in appropriate unit. So anybody is getting this 215 millimeter? Yes, anyone? Are you getting 215 millimeter? Okay, fine. So you have now three values: 170 using bending moment, 178 using shear, and 215 using deflection. So you have to choose the minimum of the three, and that is 170 millimeter. So that means you cannot exceed 170 millimeter, right? Now just try to see, if you are assuming that you are using 50 millimeter by 100 millimeter stud, then can you find out the exact distance? Suppose it is like this. We want to find the exact distance, so I will show you in this slide. This is your 12 mm plywood, and this is 350 millimeter. Now you are putting 150 millimeter by 100 millimeter at the edges on the ends, and one at the center. So how much is the center to center distance we are using? Can you find out this? This is 50, this is 50, and this is also 50. So what is this clear distance available? So out of 350, 150 gone, so you are left with 200. So that means this is 100 and this is 100, right? So what is your span of plywood? Center to center distance. So this is 100 plus 50 by 2 plus 50 by 2. So which is 150. So although we can go up to 170, we are restricting it to 150 only. Is this clear to you, technology class? Is it clear? We are not keeping it 170, we are just trying to keep it at 150 center to center. Is that clear? Clear to you, technology class? Okay. Now once you have decided that your span is span of plywood is 150, can you find out the spacing of that means the span of this stud? Can you find out the span of studs, which is same as your spacing of yokes? These are your yokes, spacing of yokes. Right now we are interested in finding the span of studs. Okay, so let's see how we do it. Let's assume that the stud that we are going to use is 50 millimeter by 100 millimeter, because this section is already available with us. So let's try using this first. So the area of cross section A is going to be 50 into 100, which is 5000 millimeter square. The moment of inertia I is BDQ by 12, which is 50 into 100 cube by 12, and you get a value of this. In millimeter raised to power 4. E is already given to you as 7700 Newton per millimeter square. So, EI you can calculate as 32.08 kilonewton per meter square. Z would be, the section modulus is given by BD square by 6 for rectangular section, which is 50 into 100 raised to power 2 upon 6, which is 83,333.33 millimeter cube. So, can you find out these sectional properties quickly? Are you getting them? Okay. So, using this, now can you find out the span of stud? If I have to draw it in cross section, I will show you how it looks like. In plan you already know, in section it would be something like this. This is your plywood. These are your studs. Now we want to use wales here, yokes. Something like this. These are now your yokes. So, we want to find out this span, which is nothing but the spacing of yokes. So, this is L now, that is what we are interested in finding. Now, L again we will find out based on bending consideration, based on shear consideration, and based on deflection consideration. Can you just find it out? What would be the load in this case now? W. You already have P max as 55 and this multiplied by 0.15. Do you understand this? This would be kilonewton per meter. Do you understand this technology class? W. If you see here, this is one stud, this is another, and finally here. So, if you take this stud, so load from this much portion will be taken care by this stud. So, this distance is 150. So, the load is going to be 55 into 1.15 kilonewton per meter. Is this clear to you, technology class? Okay, fine. So, now can you please give me the values of L for bending, L for shear, and L for deflection quickly. You can assume continuous support condition. You can use continuous support condition. So, M you can take it as WL square by 10. M you can take it as WL square by 10. Shear you can take it as 3W L upon 5. And deflection you can take it as W L raised to power 4 145 EI and equate it to L by 360. So, this will give you the value corresponding to deflection, L deflection. Likewise, for shear you can calculate it with this already you know what is the maximum permissible shear, and for bending you can use this formula, M is equal to WL square by 10. The maximum permissible bending moment in case of this timber is 0.5833 kilonewton meter. Maximum permissible bending moment. So can you just quickly find out the span based on this bending moment consideration? For 840, are you getting this? Okay, very good. I am also getting that. So go to next, go to shear consideration. Yes.
What the permissible value of this super?
605 are you getting?
I think it's permissible. What is
Okay, I have not given you shear. This is 3 kilonewton you can take. Maximum permissible. This is maximum permissible shear. Okay, very good. Go to next. For deflection, you find it out. EI value you can take it as 32.08.
$1,100 millimeters?
This?
Yeah, it's correct.
Okay, fine. So now we have to take the minimum of the 3. So we get 3 values. One was 840, then 840, 605 and 1160. These are the 3 values we have got. We choose the minimum 605. Let's say it is 600 millimeter. Let's take this as 600 millimeter. 600 millimeter as the span of studs. Okay. So that means I will just show you how we can show it in drawing. It is like this. I am showing the elevation or section, you can say. Let's say this is your plywood. This is your stud. Now let's say the bottom most we are keeping it at, let's say this is 400 from center or maybe 300 from bottom. $600 here. $600 again here. $600. This is again 600. So, and remaining, let's say this distance is 300 millimeter. So now you are getting total height of 3000 millimeter. Is this clear to you, technology class? Okay. If you just I'll just try to show you in 3-dimensional what we have done so far. Let's say this is how your arrangement looks like. So the bottom one, let's say this distance is all these are at 600, 600, 600, 600, and the bottom one is 300 and the top one is also 300, right? So this is how it would look like. Is this clear to all of you, technology class?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now let's move on to the next step. We are already through with the design of stud. Now we move on to the design of yoke. Now for yoke, let's assume a cross section. Let's assume that we are using these timber yokes. Let's assume we are using these timber yokes. Although in the sketch I was showing you the steel one, but let's try doing it with timber. So let's say for yoke you are trying to use this 100 by 100 cross section. So for this you can calculate some sectional properties. Width is 100, B is 100, D is 100, Can you calculate the area? Can you calculate the I? Can you calculate the Z? These three values can you calculate? For this cross section, B of 100 millimeter, D of 100 millimeter, can you calculate A, I and Z? Just try to calculate. Did you calculate the value of A, I and Z? Now can we calculate the span of yokes? Can we calculate the span of yokes? I will tell you what I am looking for in a 3D picture. I am looking basically for this distance. I am looking for basically this. This is my span. I will assume that I will have support here and here for those wales, for those yokes. Do you understand this? What I am trying to get now? We already have this distance. This was my span of studs. Now I am trying to find this. Is this clear to you, technology class? Is this clear? Not clear? Yes, my friend. Not clear? Okay. Just try to see it in plan. This is your plywood. These are your studs. Okay. Now here I am putting my wales. Okay. Sorry, yokes. These are yokes. Now suppose this side also you have similar arrangement. And you have some tying arrangement here. I am interested in this span for my yokes, which if you see in 3 dimension, it is basically this distance. At the corner I will be using my clamping device. So basically if you see it here, it would be something like this: a support here, a support here, and load here. So basically I am interested in finding this L. Is this clear now?
That means that under 50 select something.
Can you come again?
360 plus something.
Say for example, if you look at this yoke, the load from top half will be coming and load from bottom half, okay, and they are supported here and here. So basically these are simply supported. So use the equation of simply supported conditions for finding M, shear, V and deflection, and calculate the value of L using all these three conditions. Is it not clear?
It's clear, it's clear.
Okay, so please find out the value of L corresponding to M, V and delta. M is moment, V is shear and delta is deflection. So here you can take M as WL square by 8 because this is simply supported condition. Maximum permissible bending moment is 1.167 kilonewton meter. So you just equate these two to get the value of span of yoke. Anybody has still doubt? Please feel free to ask. Calculate the value of L assuming that your yokes are simply supported. Yes, what are you getting, my friend? The value of L? Okay, can you find out the value of load W here? Load from how much area would be coming onto this yoke? If you see this, you have this ply, then you have this studs, and then you have these yokes. Now these yokes are 600 spaced. So load from top 300 and bottom 300 will be coming onto one yoke. So that means 55 into 0.6. Do you understand this load? Okay, so find out the value of L, please. You have to visualize how the loads are flowing, from where the load is getting transferred to which member, in what condition, what is the support condition, whether it is continuous, whether it is simply supported, and then just use approximate formulas to calculate the values of span based on bending, shear and deflection considerations. So, are you getting L as 531 millimeter technology class? Okay. Based on shear, shear would be simply WL by 2, because this is a simply supported member here. You have this load as 55 into 0.6 kilonewton per running meter. You can calculate the value of this L. So, I think you should be getting 363 millimeter. Are you getting this 363? This value you can take it as 6 kilonewton permissible shear. Okay. Can you find out the value corresponding to deflection, please? Corresponding to deflection also, you please find it out. Is there anything wrong here in this slide? Okay, please do it for deflection then. So, for deflection, are you getting this 745? Using deflection, I think you should be getting 745. The formula would be 5W L raised to power 4 upon 384 EI. This formula you will be equating it to L by 360. So, the minimum of the three values, you find that the maximum span of yoke is 363 millimeter. We can say it 360 millimeter. Is this clear, technology class? We are choosing the minimum of the three, which happens to be 360 millimeter. Okay. Okay. Now, let us try to see whether this 360 millimeter is sufficient for us or not. So, for that I will take you to the sketch which we made. Now, just see this particular sketch. We had this stud here, here and here. Now, okay, I will do it in next sheet. Suppose you have this as 350 by 350. This is 50, this is again 50, and then here also you have, we draw it for this side also. So, I have marked the stud locations. Now, when it comes to these wales or rather yokes, we are trying to find out the minimum distance that is needed, minimum length that is required. The minimum that you can have, the location of tie rod would be somewhere like this. So, technology class, can you find me what is this length? This would be the minimum that would be needed by this yoke. This length is the minimum that is required, because if you are putting this tie rod here, so its span is going to be this. Is this clear, technology class? This is your yoke. You are using the tie rod here and here. This is the least distance that is required. So, can you calculate how much is this? How much L you require, L needed? If you see, this was your 350. How much is this? This is 100. This is also 100, because this section is 50 by 100. So, this is 50, this is 100 in this direction, 50 here. So, what is the minimum distance that you require, technology class? $350, let's work it out, plus 100 plus 100. 550 millimeter is the least that is needed by you, because less than this you cannot put tie rod. So, that means this is going to be your minimum span length. What is your permissible span, technology class? This is what you have just now calculated. Cannot be greater than 360. Is this clear, technology class? So, you require 550 millimeter, whereas the maximum that you can go with 100 by 100 cross section of timber is only 360. So, what you will do? All your effort that you have made has resulted in an unsafe design. So, what we need to do? We need to increase the cross section of yokes. Is that clear to you? So instead of 100 by 100, you can go in for maybe 100 by 150 millimeter, which is available to you, next higher section that is available to you. So, there are two ways. You can choose 100 by 150 millimeter cross section and find out the permissible span. Okay, compare it with 550 millimeter, which is the minimum that is needed. If it is okay, you go ahead with 100 by 150 millimeter. If it is still not safe, you go in for next higher cross section of timber that is available with you, maybe 150 by 150 millimeter. So, is this process clear to you, technology class? Okay, fine, very good. Then you will find that 100 by 150 millimeter cross section is proving to be sufficient. You please check this. In fact, one thing we missed out. For calculating the minimum distance, we have to consider this plywood thickness also. Do you understand this? It will be clear to you now. This is one side, this is another side. So inside diameter here, inside section is 350, here 12 mm, here 12 mm, and then beyond this you had 100 here. Is this statement clear to you, technology class? We had calculated 550, but we missed this particular plywood thickness. So the minimum that is required by you is 574 millimeter. Do you understand this, technology class? Okay. So you will find that this 100 mm by 150 millimeter yokes are sufficient. Okay. Now can you check whether this 16 millimeter tie rod is sufficient or not? The only thing now we are left out with is the cross checking of tie rod for its adequacy. So if you just go back to the sketch that we made. Now we have to see whether this 16 dia tie rod will be able to take care of the load coming onto it. How do you calculate this? I will show you quickly. This is how the arrangement looks like. Now here you can very easily find out that these are your locations of tie rods, here and here. Now these tie rods are spaced at in vertical. What is the spacing of these tie rod, technology class? Wherever you have these yokes, you have put the tie rods. So can you find out the load coming onto these tie rods? Can you find out the load coming onto this tie rod? Do you understand this? Load on each tie rod is this pressure 55.066 into 1.2. It is assumed that tie rods in both the directions have been provided alternatively. Suppose that one yoke is here, one yoke is here, another yoke is here. So here I use this tie rod in one side, and then another I leave this and put the tie rod here on one side. For here the tie rod would be on this side. Do you understand this? This is the meaning of providing the tie rods in alternate positions. Okay, so can you calculate the load coming onto the tie rod? I will just tell you how. This is the magnitude of load pressure multiplied by the distance at which you have placed the tie rod, and this is the width. So each tie rod in each direction is taking a load of 11.56. Now the capacity of 116 millimeter tie rod is, it is basically pi d square by 4. Tie rods are circular like this, made up of mild steel MS. So pi d square by 4 into its permissible shear value, it is, let us say, 100 Newton per millimeter square. Okay. So this would be the capacity of one tie rod, and this comes out to be 20.10 kilonewton. So the load coming on one tie rod is 11.56, whereas it can take a load of 20.10. So that means the tie rods are safe. The tie rods are safe. Coming to this alternate tie rod location, I will show you in the sketch. For example, for this side, every 1.2 meter you are putting the tie rod. Here also you are putting every 1.2 meter. So at one level, only in one direction tie rods are provided. Do you understand this? Spacing in vertical direction, 1.2 meter. What I suggest is, as far as this load on the tie rod is coming, load on tie rod is concerned, you think coolly. You just try to visualize. You have this column. Now there is tie rod here, then another tie rod is here, next tie rod is here, another tie rod is here. So in this manner they are separated by 1.2 meter. 1.2 meter. Is this clear to you, technology class? Okay. So try to visualize how much load each tie rod is sharing. I have already told you how to calculate the capacity of one tie rod. You calculate the area of cross section and find out the permissible, multiplied with the permissible stress. So that is its load carrying capacity. Check how much load is coming on one tie rod. If the load coming onto the tie rod is lesser than what it can take, it is safe. Otherwise, increase either the cross section of tie rod or you can decrease the spacing. These are the only two alternatives you can go in for. So with this, we stop our discussion on column formwork design. As you know now, the steps are more or less the same what we discussed in case of column, foundation and wall formwork. The only thing, the pressure exerted by concrete in column is slightly on a higher side when you compare them with the case of wall formwork and the foundation formwork. Otherwise, the steps are more or less the same. So I hope you don't have any doubt. Even if you have any doubt, please think with a cool mind. Think with a cool mind, and you should be in a position to understand it. Even if you don't understand it, it is fine. We will have more opportunities to learn. We will do similar exercise when we cover the slab and beam design, slab and beam formwork design. So with this, I stop this lecture and invite you if you have any doubt. Otherwise, thank you and good night.
Hello, doctor.
Yes.
No doubt, but we are looking for reply.
You are looking for reply to what?
Reply PowerPoint.
Okay. As I told you, most of these slides have this heavy picture. I can send you the text file. Text file have been used to prepare the PowerPoint slides. So whatever form I sent you earlier, I will send it for the remaining ones also. And when I come to Ethiopia, I will give you all these slides.
In order to follow, attentively, just especially the other format you have sent before, it is a bit difficult even to print, and either it is better to send you in the form of PDF file.
PDF of this file? PDF of PPT? Okay, I will send you, no problem. No problem. I will do my homework and then I will send you. Okay?